It's time for another exciting edition of the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. Stay tuned as we discuss local and national sports from Southeast Missouri and beyond. And now, without further ado, let's get on with the show. The Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle is brought to you by Royal Retros. If you like cool throwback jerseys of defunct sports teams, Royal Retros is the place to buy. If you go to royalretros.com and you order with the code SPORTSDESK, all one word, you can get a little bit off your order. So check out Royal Retros. And now on with the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. And we are back with another exciting edition of the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller.
I'm Mark Sanders.
This is Kyle Roberts.
And we've got a full show today. And in addition to talking about the Cardinals and the National Football League, we are going to be joined by Three Rivers College women's assistant basketball coach, Brice Margenthaler, who brings an impressive pedigree to the program as he joins Alex Wiggs' staff as the Lady Raiders go for a sixth straight national tournament bid. But we are going to get the show going talking about the St. Louis Cardinals, who are not having a horrible stretch right now. They are right at 500, but they have become strangely irrelevant, or at least that's how it feels to me. Guys, what do you think?
This team's bipolar.
I mean, it's a 500 ball club. I mean, at the risk of eliciting your Denny Green imitation, Mike, they are who we thought they were. They're a 500 ball club.
And we let them off the hook.
I mean, I like what they did. I read some good commentary from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch about what John Mozeliak did in terms of the fact that he didn't do anything that's going to hamper what Hein Bloom begins to do next season. He was basically just offloading ballast for some potentially decent prospects. I mean, out of the three trades that we did, if we get one or two good prospects out of that, I think that will eventually be a win for us. But, this is a team that is probably to finish around the 500 mark. And, they're not competing in the Central. They're not serious competitors in the wild card. Like Kyle said, they're certainly bipolar, so they could go on a little winning streak, but it could be just as easily followed by a losing streak of this, win 7 in a row and then lose 7 in a row. But the last thing,
frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. But the last thing that I want to say, and I created a meme about this years ago to share with a Facebook friend who lives out in L.A., and it goes like this: I should hang out with Magic Johnson because we both own the Dodgers.
I like that. That was surprising. See, you go on the road and then you lose a series to the Rockies, who are just an abomination of sports. But then you turn around and win a road series against the Dodgers.
Well, I mean, and that's just the thing. They lost. They split with the Padres. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Marlins, 2 out of 3 to the Rockies. I mean, they're playing .333 ball until they go up against the Dodgers, who were 66 and 49. As of today, and you go and you take 2 out of 3. There's just something about the Cardinals. It's like anytime that we matched up with the Dodgers in the playoffs, I was like, well, we're going to win that series. I mean, the Cardinals are just one of those, there's always two teams where it's like throw the records out, and it's like when the Cardinals play the Dodgers, the Cardinals play their best ball.
And it's one of those things that never made sense to me. But within the universe of Cardinals fandom, if that playing the Dodgers, it is almost a death in taxes. That for whatever reason, no matter who the Dodgers have, they can't beat us. But on the flip side, anytime we play the San Francisco Giants in the playoffs, we can never beat them.
Right. It was like back in the day. It was like we would just blow Clayton Kershaw out of the park in the first 3 innings and then go up to Frisco and Madison Bumgarner would come out and throw a no-hitter against us.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But then again, baseball doesn't ever make sense. But looking at what the Redbirds have coming up, they have a weekend series with the Cubs. Looking forward to seeing Michael McGreevy pitch. Honestly, he's not been too bad, despite the numbers, which hey, he does have an ERA just over 5, but he looks steady. Which with our pitching staff, I'll take steady any day. And then we host the Rockies, which please, for the love of God, don't lose those guys again.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's absolutely inexcusable for almost any team. They're currently 54 games below 500. They're 35 and a half games out in the West, and they have a staggering run differential of minus 316. It's
Stone Cold Steve Austin approve of that usage of the number 316.
I mean, it's just, no other team comes close to this level of badness, not even the Chicago White Sox.
No, I mean, and the White Sox are technically 11 and a half games better than Colorado.
Yeah.
But back to the Birds, the one thing I am excited about going forward for the rest of the season, because the Cardinals could, number one, be in the position of spoiler for teams that are battling for wild cards or division titles, such as the Padres, who are 2 back, or the Cubs, who are 4 back of the Brewers, but right now they're battling the Mets for wild card position, and the Mets are 2.5 back of the Phillies. Right now, the Cardinals are kind of in that role that the Miami Marlins are in, where it's nothing flashy, but they're both about mid-teens. But the Marlins just took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and the Yankees are in free fall. But let's talk for a minute about the Milwaukee Brewers. They're currently sitting at 70 and 44, which is the best record in baseball.
Beautiful.
They have a run differential of plus 127. They're on a 6-game winning streak, and they're 9-1 in their last 10 games. And I'm going to do something that most sports talk people won't do. I'm going to admit that I was wrong. I said that the Cubs were going to run away with the National League Central, and it looks right now like the Brewers might actually do that.
Milwaukee's been absolutely fantastic this year and playing completely under the radar, which is kind of on brand for the Brewers when they're really really good.
Right.
And also, let's be honest. If you're a sentimental type like myself, you got good old Bob Uecker, emotionally his memory driving this organization this year. I've always said it would be really cool to see the Brewers having won one for Bob while he was with us, but in the year that he's departed, that would be pretty special. And I look at this roster, and really the Brewers, it's their pitching staff. Team ERA of 3.62.
Yeah,
it's just splendid. 3 All-Stars out of their pitching staff. They're gonna be a really, really, really tough out. But I also don't expect them to get a lot of coverage. But you know what? For Midwestern teams that aren't the Cubs, I'm sure they wouldn't have it any other way.
Right.
They're just out there playing ball. Same thing with teams like Toronto and Detroit.
The only problem with the Brewers is that, like their cross-state neighbors, the Minnesota Vikings, they are usually one and done in the postseason.
That does tend to be unfortunate because there's been a few times that the Brewers have blown LCS leads in the last 15 years.
Yeah, it's really inexplicable how they can play. Again, it's like the Vikings. How do you play so well in the regular season, and then, for the Vikings, it's a playoff game. For the Brewers, it's a playoff series. And it's like, guys, come on.
It doesn't make any sense. And right now, what we're looking at here for postseason scenarios, of course, the Brewers and Dodgers will be getting buys for the National League, and then a wild card series right now. This would be a bloodbath. How about this? Phillies and Mets, and Padres, and Cubs.
I like those.
Oh, wow.
A lot of fun to me.
Now, over in the American League right now, we got the Blue Jays, which, Canada all the way, because I love me some Vlad Jr. and Bo Bichette. Detroit would get the second AL bye. Astros, Yankees, never seen that before. And first-time postseason matchup, respectively, of the Mariners and Red Sox. Think about that travel.
Oh, wow. That'll be wild. Hey, guys, bit of trivia before we go to a break. The Milwaukee Brewers won their only pennant in 1982. That was 43 years ago. That is longer than the gap in the movie Major League when Bob Uecker, as Harry Doyle said, "Die Hard Night." Yeah.
free, free, free tickets to anyone who was actually alive the last time the Indians won a pennant.
That's one of my favorite lines in the entire movie. And on that note, guys, we are going to go to a break. And when we get back, we will be talking with Brice Margenthaler from the Three Rivers College women's basketball coaching staff. You are listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. And we are back on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller, and joining me today is Three Rivers College women's assistant basketball coach Brice Margenthaler. Brice, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Good deal. First of all, you come from a coaching family, so you've got it in your blood. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I come from a long line of coaches, starting with my grandpa. He was a college coach for 25 plus years at Western Illinois and also at SIUE, Edwardsville in Illinois. And then my uncle has been at Minnesota State the last 20 years and actually won a Division II national championship about 2 years ago. And my dad's been a Division I assistant coach, head coach the last 25 years plus too. So this comes from a long line of coaching, and it's kind of all I know, really.
Good deal. That's pretty legit. And listeners, a quick bit of information. Bryce's dad, Ty Margenthaler, was the women's basketball head coach at SEMO for many years. So this is, kind of a nice little area tie.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, Cape was home for my family for about 5 years, and I still call it home with all the relationships I built there, and met my wife there too. So it's a great place, and I'm very happy to be back in Southeast Missouri.
Good deal. And this is your first year at Three Rivers. What do you want to accomplish here this year?
Yeah, I think this is kind of continue what Coach Wiggs has built over the last couple of years here. I think the main thing for me is first is to continue to get our student athletes graduated. To get their 2-year associate degree and then continue on to their 4-year school and kind of help them build their life. Sometimes I say basketball is important, but getting that degree is really important. And with the basketball side, too, just want to continue the success that he's had. He's been to the 2 Elite Eights the last couple of years, and I think our goal now is to get that Final Four and win the whole thing. So I just whatever I can do to help to do that and just continue success here at Three Rivers.
What's it like coming into a program like Three Rivers? We're on a literal school record run. 5 straight national tournament appearances, which is a school record. What's it like coming on board in the midst of that?
It's awesome actually. It's a challenge for sure. How this has been, but I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's great to have the target on your back, and I'm really excited for the opportunity to hopefully grow it and go from there.
Cool deal. And you also, had a, pretty nice playing career. You played over at Cape Central and you played some college ball. Tell me a little bit about those.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I played for 4 years at Cape Central. I played under a great high school team. Coach Church is my coach all through 4 years, and I actually got to play with a couple Three Rivers players as well, Austin Parker and Kenyon Hodges. So
cool.
Grew up every day was a challenge during practice, so it kind of helped me for my success in my college career, and went over to Carl Sandburg after college and had a great career there. I think we only lost about 14 to 18 games in my 2 years there, so I had a lot of success there and kind of go from there.
Good deal. And, so far being at Three Rivers, what has stood out to you the most?
I think it's the people, really. Everybody's been so caring and for me and stuff, and I feel like everybody's just been congratulating me to be there, and it's that family aspect that it brings. I think that's really special, and I think that's where the junior college level really comes into effect. It's a small community, but they all care about each other, and just the people have been really great to me and my family.
Excellent. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think I'm good.
Good deal. I appreciate it. And that was Three Rivers College women's basketball assistant coach Brice Margenthaler here on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. And we will be back in just a bit. And we are back on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. And we are going to switch gears and talk about the National Football League. And we are going to lead off with Mark Sanders and his Minnesota Vikings. Mark, take her away.
Well, it is business as usual in Minnesota Vikings training camp. we are tracking J.J. McCarthy. I think I just forfeited my Vikings fandom right there. Anyway, progress as QB1 for the first time. Looking forward to Saturday and his preseason game against the Houston Texans. Kevin O'Connell has said that McCarthy is going to play an indeterminate amount. We're thinking probably 1 or 2 series. I think probably if he does a touchdown scoring drive, his first time out on the field, I think they'll probably yank him at that point. If they don't score in the first drive, maybe he gets a second. But fact of the matter is, Houston has a good defense. There is live tackling in these preseason games. And the Vikings' number 1 offensive line is not healthy enough to play together. Christian Darrisaw is still coming off ACL and MCL tear and surgery. And even though he is participating in team drills in camp, that is only he's only at about 50% in terms of participation. Veteran center Ryan Kelly has been out for a few practices with an elbow injury. We don't know if he will be able to play this Saturday in the preseason game. If he doesn't go, then that's Michael Juergens, 7th-round draft pick from 2024, stepping in for Kelly at center. And then you've got Will Fries at right guard, again, coming back from a fractured tibia injury. And again, he has been playing with the first team in practice, but again, he's not going 100% of the time yet. The coaching staff is just being smart with these, both the veteran offensive linemen as well as the ones who have been injured. You don't want to get people hurt more. In addition, Justin Jefferson won't play. If Justin Jefferson was healthy, and frankly, he's probably healthy. He sat out for a couple of weeks to this point with a strained hamstring, but he, evidently, from all reports, he looks fine on the sidelines. He's running around, doing the gritty for other people's touchdowns, but they're not going to put God into a preseason game. It's just not going to happen. So when McCarthy gets out there, it's probably with something other than his number 1 offensive line. He doesn't have his number 1 wide receiver. I think it's going to be a lot of handoffs. I think it's going to be a lot of screen passes and check downs. However, knowing how Kevin O'Connell calls games, I'm sure he's going to go down the field and try for a home run, maybe to Jordan Addison. He's been connecting with Addison really well. The Vikings defense, on the other hand, has just been balling out in preseason. Brian Flores has his guys flying all over the field. O'Connell has unleashed Flores' defense against McCarthy. Nice little anecdote from camp. Ryan Kelly, of course, in his first year with the Vikings, was going up against the first-team defense and asked Kevin O'Connell, he said, they're giving us this look, what's going to happen? And O'Connell said, your guess is as good as mine. So it's, it's great training because other than Baltimore and Philadelphia, McCarthy probably will not face a better defense than the one that he's going up against every day in practice. And as we get closer to the season, I'll talk more about both the stars and the up-and-comers in defense. I want to close out my talk with the Vikings with this, and it is that as far as preseason goes, McCarthy is in an absolute no-win situation. If he goes out and plays well, his critics will say, well, it's just preseason. It was just 1 or 2 series. The Texans just played their vanilla defense. Or just like in Michigan, he handed the ball off 8 times and only threw 4 passes. It doesn't matter if one of the 4 passes is a 35-yard touchdown strike into the back of the end. It just doesn't matter. I mean, he can literally be I mean, he can go 8 for 8 with 2 touchdowns, no sacks, no tackles for loss. And his critics are going to say it's the preseason. Well, it's Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell can make Sam Darnold look great. It can make Josh Dobbs look decent. He's not going to get any credit if he plays well. And if he doesn't play well, if he just plays average, he throws a touchdown, but he also throws a pick. He could throw a pick that's not his fault. He could hit. Let's take Jalen Naylor, who has a bad habit of having balls bounce off his hands into the hands of defenders. He can hit Naylor with a deep touchdown pass. Naylor coughs it up to the defense, and the INT is going to go on McCarthy's screen. And idiots like Colin Cowherd aren't going to watch this game. They're just going to look at the stats and go, "Oh, see, I told you, McCarthy can't do it." Blah blah blah. And seriously, if I met Colin Cowherd in life, I would be inclined to slap him. Excuse me. I would be inclined just to slap him. He's just, I don't get the McCarthy hate. It's like, I understand if you like Darnold. So if you like Darnold, go ahead and pump up Seattle or anything. But anyway, I don't get it. I'm looking forward to the episode of where Colin was wrong after McCarthy kicks the Vikings off to a 5-1 or 6-0 record, which is absolutely what I'm expecting. Of course, the other big critic in the national media is Diana Rossini, who's still trying to clean all the egg off her face after her continued beating the drum that the Vikings were going to sign Aaron Rodgers. I can assure you the Vikings were never going to sign Aaron Rodgers. That wasn't going to happen. So she has to somehow make up for that failure by picking up the narrative that McCarthy is not going to be a success. Is McCarthy going to take the Vikings to the Super Bowl this year? No, he's not. Because no first year. Well, wait a minute. Did somebody help me? Did Mahomes in his first year playing, which would have been his second year in the league, did Mahomes take the Chiefs to the Super Bowl that year?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, then no one has ever done. No quarterback playing in his first year has won a Super Bowl. It's just, wait a minute, Brady?
No.
Brady was a second-year player, but it was his first year as a starter because I think his rookie year he'd been a backup that saw very few snaps.
Okay, well there you go. So that sort of thing just doesn't happen in the NFL. Plus, an NFL season, there's all kinds of crazy, goofy, unpredictable things that happens. Now, I'm sticking with my original prediction from weeks ago. McCarthy takes the Vikings to the NFC Championship, where they probably play at Philadelphia. And as long as they don't lose 41-7, I'll be happy with that because I think that'll be real progress.
Yeah, and that'll bring back a few memories because that was the last time the Vikings played in the NFC Championship game was at Philly. And we got about a minute before we go to break. Kyle, have you got any thoughts on the Vikings?
I have a prediction. The Vikings will lead the NFL in sacks.
Oh yeah,
that's. I don't even think that's too much of a hot take, quite frankly. It does suck what you said about J.J. McCarthy and the criticism he'll face. That no matter what he does, he the individual will never credit that he will have earned for his performances. It's Kevin O'Connell's a great quarterbacks guy. Look what he did with so and so and what's his name.
Yeah.
Or look at the weapons he has. God, nobody can mess that up.
Well, speaking on behalf of Vikings fans all over the world, we don't care how we win a Super Bowl as long as we win a Super Bowl.
There you go. There you go. And guys, on that note, we are going to take another really quick break, and then when we get back, we are going to talk about the St. Louis Rams. You are listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. And we are back on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. And we are still laughing about me referring to the Los Angeles Rams as the St. Louis Rams. That's what happens when you record a podcast on not that much sleep like I did. But without further ado, Kyle, give me your thoughts on the Los Angeles Rams.
Unfortunately, this is the 10-year anniversary of the last season of the Rams in St. Louis. So thank you, number one. Number two, I want to talk about a big highlight. So my goodness, I'm so excited I can't talk. But I'm very excited about our running back room coming so far in training camp. We really needed to address depth last year in the draft, and after taking Blake Corum last year after Michigan's national championship season, we added all SEC running back Jarquez Hunter to the room, and he adds a north-south power game to our running back room to go with Kyron Williams, and I think we have one of the more underrated back rooms in the NFL, because what people talk about most with the Rams is the long term with Matthew Stafford. Will Jared Verse elevate from year two? Will Devontae Adams return to form with the Rams and playing alongside Puka Nacua and having a competent offensive coach? But nobody really has been talking about our ability to run the football. And Sean McVay's offense is very much predicated on play action, but being able to establish the run. Kyron Williams can also catch out of the backfield, which is another big necessity in McVay's offense. We don't have one Todd Gurley wrapped up in these three running backs, but we can create a lot of really good, strong production and also rotate all three of these guys and have good quality depth that helps in multiple situations. So I'm very, very excited about that. I do have some concerns about our offensive line. Lamar Jackson, our left tackle, he's only had a light contact. Right now we've got DJ Humphries that's been filling in, and David Quisenberry and Warren McClendon Jr. have also pitched in and helped out at left tackle because, again, we're in a division with Nick Bosa.
And David Questenberry is a former Tennessee Titan. Have fun with that, guys.
Yeah, also a former Minnesota Viking, and he's essentially a traffic cone on the offensive line. So good luck with that.
Like I said,
where we don't have to worry about blindside protection. That doesn't make me feel too optimistic. So, and it's not because we don't have a mobile quarterback. None of our quarterbacks are very mobile, save for Stetson Bennett, who potentially could jump professional male model Jimmy Garoppolo as number 2 quarterback.
You better light a candle and pour a cup of rum for Joe Boo that Stafford stays healthy, because you don't want either one of those guys. You don't want to pin your playoff hopes on either one of those quarterbacks.
I really think outside of Detroit, we have the worst backup quarterback situation in the NFL. I watched Hendon Hooker play at the Hall of Fame game, and I'll just say this for the Detroit Lions, they should have signed Teddy Bridgewater back. I'm saying. Looking forward to seeing the continued development of our defensive line, which it almost doesn't matter who's wearing a Rams uniform. If you're being asked to get to the quarterback and you're a Ram, you automatically can. It's just historically what we do. Jared Verse and Braden Fitz are the next evolution of great Rams pass rushers potentially, and also Byron Young as well, and Poona Ford. Poona Ford is a very underrated defensive tackle that's been able to generate a lot of pressure. So that you really need in a division where the only quarterback you got to worry about running around is Kyler Murray. Brock Purdy, you don't really have to worry about doing that. Obviously, Sam Darnold is not beating anyone with his legs. So I'm loving the continued improvement of our front seven. One of our biggest additions back to the offense, he's had injury issues the last couple of years, is one of my favorite players on the Rams over this the last handful of years, Tyler Higbee. Not a big time name, but very steady production when he's healthy, especially in the Gurley year when we were still playing at the Coliseum. He's going to be in his 10th year with the team. We get him back, and we really needed him to come back in. He'll be working with Terrence Ferguson. We also got Colby Parkinson, who's going to be a third guy. We don't use fullbacks, so having our tight end healthy really helps when we use an H-back in as an extra blocker or as another option in the passing game. because, like a lot of teams, we don't use fullbacks. I think the Rams haven't had a traditional fullback in probably about a decade. So we're getting healthy at key positions, and we're improving. My only real concern this year is the secondary because it is so young, and they got. I'll be honest, they got torched last year. We did get pick up Emmanuel Ford, who was a former first-round draft pick of the Washington Commanders. He didn't work out there, so he's now with us, and he did tweak a hamstring recently, but he's getting first team draft. We need depth, and we need good production at cornerback. We don't receivers in our division are not fun to defend. Brandon Ayuk, um, Marvin Harrison Jr. I fully expect to take a huge leap forward for him this
he's
year.
going to have a good season.
And they got in Seattle as well with their receiving core. I know they lost DK Metcalf, but Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think he's gonna be a stud. So that's another. Those are my biggest concerns. But all in all, I like where we're going. I still think we win the NFC West, and that is provided that we protect QB1.
Yeah.
We are one of those teams this year that almost all of our success is contingent on Stafford being healthy.
Right, and I'm looking at a report from ESPN says the back injury is an aggravated disc, and that part of the treatment was getting an epidural. That's when they put an anesthetic directly into your spinal cord.
Oh, man.
That looked good. That looks like Tony Romo's last season in Dallas, where he had to wear a flak jacket to keep from becoming paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I hate the sound of that.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to keep him upright. You cannot take any chances because it doesn't even have to take a dirty hit, just a clean hit out the waist, and that's it. He's gone.
Yeah, with that being said, I would like to see us use more max protect packages. Get our running backs in to chip block. If we have to just go with two receivers and maybe one tight end as pass catching options, by all means, we got to protect them. We have to protect them because if we're able to, and he's able to produce this year, we are also one of the few teams in the NFL that have two number one receiving options.
Well,
and
yeah.
And then that could be really, really explosive. But again, Stafford's got to be upright.
Yeah. And McVay can make that kind of offense work. I mean, I think everyone agrees, McVay is probably the best offensive mind in the game. And so if he needs to play a more conservative style to protect his quarterback, I think that he can still be productive in that kind of system.
Agreed. I agree completely, especially with our ability to run the football. And I really think we're going to be one of the better rushing attacks in the NFL with increased depth and able to wean ourselves off of Kyron Williams so he can actually be more effective when he's in. So again, I'm but there's always that lump in the back of my throat if Matthew takes one bad hit.
Yeah.
And oh God, what do we do now? We just went from possibly being a Maserati of an offense to an AMC Pacer.
Oh my gosh, that would be we Pacer jokes. Enough said. Oh wow, guys.
Bucket list this morning, but what are you gonna do? You never know.
Indeed. And guys, we're going to break real quick, and when we get back, we're going to talk very quick about my Tennessee Titans here on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. And we are back on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. And before we wrap up today's show, I want to say a few words about my football team, the Tennessee Titans. And there's not a lot to say. I mean, we're coming off a horrible season, but so far in training camp, we've had our ups and downs. Cam Ward has been getting a lot of praise. Calvin Ridley has been looking really good. Ty J. Spears has been looking really good. Our second round draft pick, Femi, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name this morning. I think has had some moments. We're seeing a lot of promise. I mean, I don't think we're going to have a great season, but for the Titans, going 5-12 is a 2-game improvement from the debacle we were last year. So any improvement with the Titans this year may be relevant if things go really good. Maybe we can get close to 500 and actually contend in what is a very weak division, especially since Anthony Richardson just got hurt again for the Indianapolis Colts. But
Oh my gosh.
yeah, exactly,
That's
and
cool.
yeah,
Mm,
so
mm.
it's going to be interesting to see what happens, guys. What do you think?
I've also heard good things about Ward. I mean, it's all of the news about what he's doing in camp has been positive. You know, they're playing a last place schedule. The South is weak. You could win, 2 games against the Colts, split with the Texans, split with the Jaguars. That gives you 4 games right there, and
Yep.
then you've got the Saints, the Browns. The Patriots will be better, but I who think are still beatable. Raiders, beatable. Cardinals, always beatable. I mean, you can win 7 or 8 games this season, especially if Ward has a good rookie season.
And as a Titans fan, that would be really nice, especially after the um, latrine show of the last couple of years. Kyle, what do you think?
You play in arguably the worst division in the NFL, which also makes it a bit unpredictable. If Anthony Richardson has a long-term injury, the Colts might as well tank for Arch and call it and do the whole suck for luck thing again. I give your ceiling 7, quite frankly. I think you could steal a few games within your division. I know Jacksonville is in a similar spot. Houston, I don't think you're going to touch them, but I think you could get possibly 3 wins out of the other 2 teams that I mentioned, and maybe upset a few teams because I legitimately think Cam Ward. I love his attitude. If you listen to him in press conferences and interviews, he gets all the right things, but I truly feel that is who he is. And when you consider the whole going from 0-star to #1 overall pick, then from FCS, Washington State, Miami, and everything that's got that kind of leadership and grit go a long way into changing the culture of a football team. So I really think that he could get the Titans, get the ball rolling, create some excitement, get the fans going. Because let's be honest, Nissan Stadium is probably the quietest stadium sold out in the NFL. Like, it's not. There's no intimidation factor. But
Not
I think
anymore.
that he really could get the spark back, or as Marty Schottenheimer would say, the gleam back.
Yeah.
There you
And
go. And it's going to be interesting, and hopefully we can
yeah,
turn it around.
just looking ahead this weekend, guys, the preseason matchups for our teams of interest. Minnesota is hosting the same Houston Texans. That is a 3 p.m. start on Saturday, tomorrow, Saturday, August 9th. That's going to be on the NFL Network. Tennessee will be at Tampa Bay. That's a 6:30 start. That's not going to be nationally televised. And the Rams will host the Dallas Cowboys,
Oh, wow.
also at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Unfortunately, neither of your games look like they're going to be nationally televised. And frankly, unless you're just a diehard football fan, there's no reason to do that. So for the diehard, if you're wondering about the rest of the NFL Network schedule, tonight it's Cleveland at Carolina beginning at 6 p.m. On Saturday.
Shadur will be starting that game.
Oh, well, that'll be worth watching. The New York Giants go across the state to square up with the Buffalo Bills at noon on Saturday. All of these games, by the way, are on NFL Network. So if you canceled your cable or satellite package, too bad for you. The New York Jets will travel to the frozen tundra. Well, right now it's the steamy tundra of Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. That is 7 o'clock tomorrow night on NFL Network. And then 2 games that actually feel almost like a fall Sunday in the NFL. Miami travels to Chicago to take on the Bears at noon. And then New Orleans, who may turn out to be the worst team in the NFL, will take on the LA Chargers, and that'll be at 3 o'clock. So if you are a diehard football fan, there are plenty of games for you to watch this weekend on NFL Network.
Indeed, and it's going to be a way to get your football fix if you're like us. And on that note, we are going to wrap up this week's show. I'm Mike Bueller.
I'm Mark Sanders.
And I'm Kyle Roberts.
And you have been listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.